find yourself at the booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Florida Mike. Today, sitting with my co-host Joe in the OC. Joe, how you doing this beautiful Sunday morning?
Yeah.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, the way that Joe is right now. This is how I have to deal with him every morning.
That's pretty. Well, no, not like this. I was at the Motley Crue Def Leppard concert last night. And it was excellent, absolutely excellent. Highly recommend. It was a late night. That's all I'm saying.
You sent me quite a few pictures from that show. It was a lot of interesting things that were happening there.
When you go to a hair metal show, you see the children of hair metal fans, and they look like the hair metal fans used to. And then you see their parents there with them who are trying to look like they used to. And there's a certain level of, like, spandex is forgiving.
The aging hipsters?
It's not that forgiving. Some of those people, like, some of that stuff should have been retired.
It's more telling than forgiving? Is that what you're saying?
There's good spandex and there's bad spandex, and I saw a lot of bad spandex. And I'm not talking like, there were things that I have seen that I cannot unsee. We'll just leave it at that.
I'm glad that's ingrained into your brain and not mine.
Well, I couldn't get video, and there was one lady who was dancing with her mom that my wife was like, "Oh, she's my spirit animal." I'm like,
that's aiming high. Yeah, aiming real high there. Well, I too had a late night. I was at a wedding, and not my wedding.
Not your wedding.
I was at a wedding. I was in a wedding.
Huh? You are a groomsman?
I was a groomsman.
Not a matron of honor?
No. Unfortunately, I didn't make that cut. I got picked in the second round, Joe.
There are worse things.
So that was good. It was a good time. It's been a long time since I've been in a wedding. I don't know if that just means my friends aren't getting married or I just don't have many friends. So read into that as you will.
Okay. I can.
But it was.
We don't have time to unpack that one today.
Yeah. Longtime friend, my oldest friend here in Florida. So it was good. I'm glad that him and his lady have stuck together all these years, and they've been together for something like 8 years, I think, and finally after all that time got married. So good for them.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy for them.
Good.
So late night for both of us.
Yes. Well,
and here we are. That's why we sound the way that we do today.
Here we are.
And because of that, we've got a show about nothing. It's just a lot of, hey, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. Let's talk about this kind of thing.
Well, and the best part is KC was going to be joining us, and he had a late night as well, and didn't have his phone charger with him, and was not at his local residence, so he's not even able to, like, his phone died in the middle of talking about it. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't even make it this far. It was a glorious pre-show.
So yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So Casey's done with his schooling. He has got another week left and then graduation, and then he'll be back. So episode 20 today, we didn't even mention that. Episode 20. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you figure we record bi-weekly, that's 40 weeks that we've been doing this show so far. Almost made it a year.
Almost.
So, but we were hoping to have him back with us for episode 20. But it just wasn't quite in the cards. So next week he should be with us. Or next episode.
Next episode.
He should be with us, yeah.
Lucky 21.
The return of Casey.
Able to drink.
the show, I was just going to say, the show turns 21. Just imagine what that episode's going to be like.
It'd be a lot like this, I bet you.
Yeah, probably.
So,
All right. So,
what's new? What do you got?
am I going first? I got a
You're
lot of
going
new
first.
stuff.
You're going
I've
first.
got a lot of I've got a lot of new stuff that I didn't even buy. How's that?
See,
How's that for new watches?
it's
So
a good week.
we have a mutual friend between us that I came to begin to talk with through you, and he is a very large bull of a collector. And I think he's just going through some of his collection, and he's just starting to divest a little bit.
He's
And
culling some stuff, but it's not like it's not quality things. I don't know if he's refining his collection. I don't know if we could call it that, or if he just needs the space, because we'll be chatting on Instagram into the night, and all of a sudden he just starts opening up watch boxes, and he's got 25 watch boxes. I don't know. It's nuts. The guy's got
probably,
a bunch of stuff. And he's really good on notating what it is. So I mean, there's the name of it, the year, and some qualities of like movement and stuff too. So he's got it all listed right in the watch box. He's like, oh yeah, I've got one of those, and he pulls out like 4. Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then there's this one. This is a variant of that. And then there's this one. And that's another one. And this is like the left-handed version of it, and from the 1920s.
And he's big into Art Deco, so he's big into that
the 20s
early
and 30s
era
watches.
stuff.
Man, his collection of that stuff is just phenomenal.
Not that he doesn't have things from the 60s and 70s, and he does, but just not as in depth as his early eras collection.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's cool to look at. And I even had the conversation with him too that we've talked about many times on the show here is I would love to have an Art Deco watch. I just wouldn't wear it, kind of thing.
I think you haven't found the right one. That's my opinion. I think
you think so?
I do.
I don't know.
I do. I think so, because your consideration is mostly the size, right?
No.
What's your
not the size.
What would you like? What's not to like about Art Deco watch?
But we'll see. It's not that I don't like the Art Deco. I like the Art Deco watch for what it is. It is an art form. It is the case designs, the filigrees, just all the little details that went into making it. The handsets, the dials, everything. It's fantastic. But they don't fit what I wear a watch for. That's the problem. They just don't fit my watch wearing needs.
You haven't found the right one.
So, okay. So moving on.
So that's all there. No, well, okay. Hang on.
Okay.
So when you're discussing, we're talking about the Art Deco style of watches, and you could argue that goes from 1920 up through 1930. At least in terms of case designs and for
I would say 40, maybe even early 50s.
Maybe, but
pushing it. There's a few in the 50s, right? Okay, but at least through the 40s.
Right. So in this point in time, you're looking at a 20-year range of watches, and you're telling me within the 20-year range, and if we just talk Bulova alone, you can't find something in that time frame that will meet your needs. Are you drunk? What's the matter with you?
Again, no, you're drunk because you're not listening to me. Visually, yes.
Right.
As an art form.
No. There is still something in that range that will meet the needs that you need. Absolutely. Even like we're talking like a trench watch too.
No, I don't wear trench watches because then according to you, I'm going to have to put it on the boom, and I don't do that.
You won't have to put it on a boom because there is something for you. There is something there for you somewhere.
I can absolutely find one for sure. And I would wear it and be like, wow, this is really neat. I really enjoy this. It's very cool. I'll hold it up to the camera and then I will go and change it out for something else. I will wear a different watch for the day.
I think you're wrong. I think you haven't given this the appropriate. And I think that may be a new challenge. And maybe I'm going to sick Luis on you on that. You watch out.
Okay. All right. Well, when that day comes,
all right,
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
All right. So
Okay. So
what do you got?
can I talk about my new watches now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So from his collection, he sent me 3 watches. He messaged me. He said, "Hey, I know you're a Caravel fan." He says, "I have a few Caravels here that I'll send you." He says, "I'm not going to charge you anything. You can just have them." He says, "But the catch is you're not allowed to sell them."
Solid.
I can do that. Yeah, for sure. So he sent me some pictures, and I said, "Wow," I said, "these are really nice watches." I said, "I will be more than welcome to take them in and be the caretaker and not get rid of them as per your request." So he sends me a package, and in the package, watch number 1 is actually, he said, for my girlfriend, because this is a ladies Caravel. It's a manual wind. I believe I have to check. I got to open it up because I think these particular ones carry an ETA movement inside, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I think
What
it's
year
this
is it?
watch. 76.
Oh, see, that might be pushing it though. But that's interesting. I'd be curious to see what it's got.
Yeah, I have to open it up because I think I remember seeing one of these in a listing, and it had an ETA. But it's not necessarily early on a Sunday, but considering the time I woke up, it is early for me on a Sunday, and I could be wrong. But this is I'm looking at it here. Yeah, this is a chrome plated case in very nice shape. There's really not many scratches or nicks on it, which is a rare thing in chrome plated case watches. The dial looks really nice, a little bit of patina to it, but it winds right up. It ticks away. It's on a mesh bracelet, which she likes because it's not too tight. It's not too loose. She can adjust it just as she sees fit. And it's
Nice.
not an overly small ladies watch either. It's a little on the larger side for the ladies pieces. So she's very happy with this one.
As she should be. That's a nice watch though.
So moving on to number 2, we have, and this is a 1970, also a chrome plated case in very nice condition. This is a black dial small seconds manual wind Caravel.
Nice. Those
And
are
it's
good too.
not focusing on here, but there you'll see the picture. Has a date. It is a very small lug. I haven't measured it yet, but just looking at it, maybe 15, 16 millimeter lug.
That's okay.
None of
Interesting.
the straps I have fit it. I can
Well, that
tell
was
you
like
that
a
much.
military style, like a A11 or an A17.
Yeah, well, maybe kind of. I can see if you stretch it a little bit, you could get with that. But it's to me, it's more of a dressy piece, maybe
Oh no,
kind
no, I'm
of.
not. Well, but just from the lugs, like the case dimensions, put it into that space. It's going to
Oh
wear
well,
really well too.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to getting a strap for this one and putting it on. I like that.
What are you going to put on it?
I like small seconds hands. I don't know. Probably a black strap. Just go with the black dial. Just a nice monochrome look to it.
Mm,
I think that'll be perfect.
like a maybe even an exotic would do really well for that, rather than just like a straight cowhide.
What are you thinking? Ostrich?
Not
Broad?
ostrich, not ostrich, because there's a little too much texture on that. But
Yeah,
maybe
there is a little bit.
not stingray, maybe shark, maybe
Yeah, not stingray.
croc or lizard would also work. I know you're not a fan
Well,
of lizard.
yeah, I could see. I'm not a huge fan of a lizard, but I can see it working in this case. Croc
Yeah,
probably. That would be a good one.
croc wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. But then I think the crown jewel here, and this one, so funny thing. Well, I'll just show you. It's a Caravel transistorized, which I don't have any of until
Right,
now. I do not.
right. We
He
know
says
it,
it
guy.
doesn't run. He says it stopped running. I took the battery out, and it was probably just a dead battery. He never replaced it, so it probably just pop a new one in, and hopefully it starts ticking away. What I found especially interesting about this one, it is an all stainless case.
Mhm.
So that's very cool. It is a Japanese version. So we had talked, or I had talked with Oliver and said, "Hey, I got a transistorized coming in. It doesn't run. I don't know if it's a battery or not. I haven't tried it out." Um, I said, "But if it needs something else, can I send it to you to go through and fix it and whatever?" He says, "What kind of movement is it?" So I don't know. I sent him a picture. He goes, "Oh, I hate those." So we'll see. Hopefully, it's just a battery. But what our mutual friend liked about it is it had an engraving on the back. It says Janet and Bob.
Oh,
and he says, you got to get it running for Janet and Bob.
Janet and Bob deserve to have that watch running.
We will get this one running. I don't know if it was for Janet and Bob or by Janet and Bob or who Janet and Bob even are, but we are going to get this piece up and running. And I'm looking forward to this one because, again, transistorized. I don't have one. I think just, for the conversations we've had about them in the past, they're just cool watches, part of Caravelle history, and a small part of history, but a neat part of it. So
yeah, I've got one that Oliver gave me as well, and it's cool. It's cool. There's something that's the design language that Caravelle was going through in that time period for those watches. It's not exactly King Seiko, but it's close. You've got some of those same design cues. The finishing isn't quite as refined, but it's still, it's a good little package. They wear well, they're small, but they're elegant. I like it.
Well, you say small. Again, I'd have to measure this, but this looks fairly decent sized for, I'm what, 37, 38 on this?
Yeah, right around that. I think mine's a 36.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm genuinely looking forward to this one. So very appreciative that he thought of me, that he sent these out, that he believes they come to a good home, and they have. So they'll stay in the collection, and I'll make sure they get worn and loved, and
there you go.
We'll go from there. So I have another new watch, but we'll get into that. There's a story with that one because we're going to talk project watches a little bit here too. So that kind of goes into the project stuff. So we'll get to that last one in a little bit. So what do you got?
I have the last in the Accutron Deep Sea. So this is the Deep Sea.
That's right.
With this gray faded dial. Lume is gone from the hands, and the movement is not running. So this one's going to need a trip to the spa, but the bezel is just gorgeous. The case is honest, and this sucker's from 1971.
71,
now,
yeah.
This is the part that I find interesting though for this watch, that it should be on a tropic. That's like there's a bracelet and then there's the tropic, and that's right.
Well, now hold on. It should be on what, Joe? What did it come from?
No, it shouldn't.
From the factory. It came with what on it?
No, that's wrong. And that shouldn't be that way.
That is not wrong.
Just because the line book
deemed it so.
The line book says it came on.
It came on leather. Came on shark.
Came on shark. Right.
Came on shark, which is an exotic leather.
No. That's kind of the problem.
Otherwise.
But that's kind of the problem though. That's the problem for me with this watch, at least in the way that it is now, because the dial's got this gorgeous fade to it. And so I had a tropic and I threw it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work. And
really?
I'm a tropic fan. It didn't work. It didn't work for me at all. Then
it must not have, because you didn't even send me the picture of that.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I still see if I can find it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't come across well on that. It's like, but on this gray NATO,
it's good on that. Yeah, I like that.
It's really good on that.
So I've got a love-hate with that one, real quick.
This one, really?
Yeah. Yes. That one in particular.
Okay.
Because it needs to have that orange lume, and yours doesn't. Yours has faded into a kind of a light yellow.
Yeah. So
but it's such a awesome watch.
It's a question. It's a question about what happens with those, and I don't know if they changed the lume formula somewhere along the lines, because it seems that it's some of the earlier models. Like I said, this is 71. Some of the stuff from the 60s, those get that really nice pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
And the later ones don't seem to. And I've seen a lot with that same kind of dial. But it also could be how they faded and how they were treated. I mean, this one was loved. It was born. It was.
But yeah, I'm sure it has a lot to do with the life that it lived.
So there's something.
But it's
you said to that.
Still very cool.
Yeah, it is.
I'm glad you got that one. I know we both have been looking for that one. Well, at least me for you for a while, and
yeah, it came up, and the offer was right. So it's like
yeah.
And then I picked up this Accutron Snorkel 666.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been sort of an Accutron week. This one also doesn't work, but it came without the bezel. And I found this new old stock bezel, which was really going to be for my Bulova, And amazingly, hashtag Bulova, it doesn't fit. It's too big. So it's a
different size.
different styles case, even though it's the exact same style, right? The same lugs, same kind of, and all that stuff for it. But this one, interestingly, is also inscribed on the back, and it is Love ML from 1981. And there's no year on the back of it, so I don't think that this is from the 80s. I think this is
I wouldn't think so.
Right?
Yeah, that's the 70s for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so I don't know. We're gonna have to crack that one open and see what the movement is and mess around with that. But like the bracelets and a little,
it doesn't run. God, I hope it's not a quartz.
We'll find out.
Did you know how they did that weird quartz swap?
I do. I haven't cracked it. We've got to take a look at that. And then I got another piece of this. We'll talk about it when we get to our projects. So
that's right. I have 2 new watches to talk about for projects. Yeah, it's been a week as far as watches go for you and I.
It has been a week. A week. So what's on the wrist and what's in the bottle?
I am wearing my ladies Caravelle Digitron, the Jump Hour watch. And I made a post about this today, so you can date this episode as you see fit. Where I wrote on there, I think the reason why I like Jump Hours so much is because I remember being a kid, we had the old flip clocks.
Yeah.
Had the digital cards that would flip.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like these Jump Hours. It just reminds me of those old flip clocks, just the way that hour ticks over. Just the right moment.
That old like a clock radio.
The clock radio, for sure, yeah. And I've been looking at them on eBay. I just have a hankering to buy one, just to have it, just to watch it and hear that tick,
tick, tick
when that card flips over. Yeah. So I'm drinking. What am I drinking? Blue Moon Mango Wheat. It is in a can. I'm too lazy to go get my beer glass, so This is what I've got.
Perfect.
Gets the job done. What do you got? You got a nice bright orange watch there.
A nice bright orange. I got the V. I love this watch. I haven't worn it in a while.
Is that the V or is that the reissue? Oh, that's the V. Yep, there it is. They date.
Right. So this one it was time. It was time. It's been staring at me from the box. And
you haven't worn it in a while. You are going to be sending me some stuff, I think, before too long here. You should throw that in the box and I'll wear it for you.
Okay. I'll get right on that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. It was worth a try.
It was good. It was a nice effort. And if I'd had more of this, I'm sure you could get away with it. Little hair of the dog for Motley Crue.
Yeah, there you go. All righty. So getting into our episode about nothing. What are we talking? Okay, so first on the list.
Yeah.
Is go ahead and say
watches.
it, because I know
dress watches and opinions on dress watches. And
you love questioning me about dress watches, don't you?
I do love questioning you about dress watches because
and this is where the Art Deco falls, in my opinion, is a dress watch. And why don't I have a lot of dress watches, Joe?
Oh, because you're a critter wrangler. Doesn't fit your lifestyle.
Well, exactly. I don't dress up enough.
Now, okay, and that being said, we did have a discussion because you had to pick a watch to wear to the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You were in a tux, rented, but tux. And
thanks for throwing that out there. Yes, I know you own your own, Joe.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But it's an occupational hazard. So, well, yeah. And so we had this discussion about which watch you would wear and what could work, what wouldn't work. And I had to remind you that you've got that Movado that you wore, right?
The first world problems that I have. Yes, you did have to remind me that I owned a Movado.
Yeah.
But in fairness, we had come up with 3 options.
Right.
So my first go-to was going to be the Aerojet.
Mm-hmm.
My, what was it, 60? It doesn't matter. You had come up with the gold dress 666 that I have, which would have been a good choice. And then you said, oh, hey, don't forget that you have the Movado. And so the Movado is not a mechanical Movado. It is one of the newer, more affordable quartz versions. And
the design language is so solid on that. That's a museum watch for a reason.
Oh, yeah,
and I know
it's the same thing.
but there's like people that like to hate on that watch because it's almost the epitome of mall watch, really. But it doesn't change the fact though that it's an elegant design. It's an excellent design.
Well, the museum has been
legs.
around for forever, you know, and there's so many variants of it, and you can get it in mechanical, you can get it in full Swiss, you can get it in Swiss movements. So I mean, you can buy into a very nice watch at whatever price point works for you.
I think that it was an interesting move on Movado's part, and I don't know if that's like post quartz crisis or if they're going through their identity crisis, and now they're kind of coming back and reissuing some pieces and putting some new spin on some old stuff. Like Movado has started to leg up a little bit, in my opinion. But that watch by itself, just as an iconic watch, honestly, like you can recognize it from across the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. It works.
It's the tuxedo of watches.
It's close.
Don't give me that. Just for once, can you agree with me on something?
Yeah, I don't wear one with my tux, but okay, you.
So, anyways, yeah, the battery had been dead on that.
It's the rental. It's the rental tuxedo.
Okay, get out of here. This is going to be a real short episode, Joe, if you keep that up. So that's what I went with. I wore the Movado. I changed the battery, got it running. Again, it's quartz, but it's a two-hander, so you can't tell that it's quartz.
No, it's a good. I really like the design. I think it's a very elegant design. My neighbor has one that I had fixed for her, and it's the ladies' version. It's smaller. It's like probably like a 23, and even that looks really good. And I like it. I like it. I would wear one.
Well, if you remember back to the episode that we did, the buying a 3-watch collection for our friend who's getting started in watches, that was my dress watch option.
Yeah, it's definitely not something to worry about. It's a sort of set it and forget it, and you're good to go. But so you lived with that one last night. And is that something that you want to get into a little bit more? You want to bust those out of your watch box now? What's your...
No.
All right, moving on.
No, but again, it's there are watches in my collection that would make good dress watches, and that one in particular, the Aerojet, the Gold 666, that's stretching it, but it would work as a dress watch. I have a couple other pieces. I have some real nice Skagans, but the problem is I enjoy having them. I love looking at them. I just don't get dressed up enough, and maybe that says something about me, whatever. But dress watches just don't survive well in my collection.
But they could. And then, okay, let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room.
Oh, which is what?
Your freaking Jetstar collection. What are those? That's not a tool watch. It's not a sports watch.
So that covers a large range of uses. So of those 10 pieces, there's 1 to at least 3 that I would call a dress watch. There's several that I would call sporty, not a sport watch per se, but definitely sportier.
What's the water resistance on those?
Water resistant.
Right. So
just like all bulbas, they say water resistant, and you just you enter at your own risk. I mean, there is no real rating on them. They don't say water resistant to X amount of feet.
So the question is right. Would you? I don't know if you would have taken that watch swimming when it was new. That's like, okay, you can do the dishes.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you would take it swimming.
Right. So that sort of eliminates it from sort of the sports watch category.
Well, that's why I say it's not a sports watch per se, but it's a sportier looking watch.
Okay. So
they're watches that you can definitely wear with jeans and a t-shirt.
Well, yeah, but at the time that they were being released, I don't think it was a jeans and t-shirt style watch, right?
No, the advertisements were for the very sexist advertising from back in the day, but it was geared towards the man who was what was it, like the adventurous man or the man who was ready for adventure at any time, things like that. That's how they marketed those pieces. And even the dress ones, that's they were in the same marketing campaign as what the sportier version would be.
So
So
I'm just trying to think about what a man ready for adventure in the 1970s would have been adventuring into.
well, I don't think of like James Bond. You wear it to a cocktail, but then you're off and you're in a car chase in the next scene.
Oh, see, I was
You
I
know,
was thinking more that you're trying to go visit Club 54 and you wake up in an alley someplace. So
well,
different type of adventure.
that would be, yeah, as well. Well, I think we're getting off topic here.
A little bit.
I think, yeah.
So like I would argue that more of your Jetstar collection fits into a dress watch category than any other space, and this is where we can differ on that. But to me,
Oh, we do.
that's where it would fit. That's where it would fit in my collection, and it just seems kind of strange to me that you've gone through all the effort to collect that, to get those all together, to have this full collection of those, and yet you don't want to wear your other. It's just. It's weird.
Well, yeah, because see, we're just going to have to agree to disagree because I do not see those as dress watches. I see a couple of them as dress watches, but the rest are sportier styled, boldly designed, colorful watches.
Ready?
You're not gonna
The
call
poll.
the Stars and Stripes a
The
dress
poll.
watch.
We're doing it as a poll now. It's a poll.
Okay, we'll do it as a poll
Poll.
for sure.
There we go. All right. Moving on.
All right,
This
so
is, this is something near and dear to your heart.
the I don't even know how I came across this, but I came across them on eBay. They are Chinese moonSwatch knockoffs.
What's it called though? It's got a specific name, like the planet.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to let me see if I can look it up here real quick without wasting too much time. See if it's in my. Oh, look, here it is, right here. The Dannilu Dannilu quartz. It says on the dial.
That's Anna Nicole Smith's daughter. Interesting.
There you go. They have all the colorways, all the moonSwatch colorways. And what's funny is so they're using pretty much the same names: Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto. But when you get to, well, they have the moon landing task watch, and then they have the Water Star Tour, which is gray. So I guess I don't even know. Oh, that's very weird. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe them, but
Well, if you've seen
they
the moonSwatch,
look
you've seen it. So
they look identical to the moonSwatch. They have the Velcro strap that says Danilou stamped all over it. I'm looking at the mission to Mars here. It has the same little capsule
right.
chronograph hands. It is a flat dial. It's not a step dial.
Yeah.
It looks plastic, but they claim in the description that it's metal. So I don't know. If you are feeling adventurous enough, you can pay 32 pounds, but then it gets shipped from China, which doesn't go by the pound sterling.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, they're trying
So-
they're trying to harken back to old Hong Kong. So
Yeah. So you can send your money somewhere, and hopefully at some point you get yourself a Chinese moonSwatch knockoff. Now, I would love to, just to see A, if it actually comes, and B, how bad it really is. What is it? 32 pounds is like $37.
Something like that.
It would almost be worth it.
You know what? It just might be.
And it would be great if you were out somewhere and somebody came up to you and was like, "Oh, is that the moonSwatch?" You're like, "No,
No.
this is the Danilou quartz." So yeah, I thought that was interesting. A, that somebody decided to knock them off, and B, that it happened so quickly.
Oh, I was expecting it soon, but I mean, the fact that it's kind of as prevalent on eBay, which means I mean, I haven't looked on AliExpress, but you imagine that they're there too.
I would
And
think
you
so.
might even be able to get them cheaper there. So I'm curious about how that one's going to come across. And
I don't know. $32 is pretty cheap. $37.
well, right, but that's the thing, right? If they're selling it for that much, what's it cost to make?
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
don't know.
I'm so curious about one of those, just from the standpoint, like, do the pushers work? Is it an actual chronograph or
Okay. Do we buy one, Joe? If I order it, it says it'll be here by November 16th. And that's if it shows up,
maybe?
because you know my track record with things coming from China. It's not very good.
No, it is not. You have a problem with things coming from Florida.
Well, from where did that package come from? Pennsylvania? Is that where it's yeah. We'll talk about FedEx in a little bit and my frustrations with them.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get yourself a moonSwatch. You don't have to pay 3 times retail. You can get one for $37.
And same availability as the moonSwatch too, apparently. Pending.
Well, pending, yeah, I guess. So smartwatches, Joe. What do you want to say about smartwatches?
You still don't like them.
You brought this up. You must have an opinion on something.
I do.
Something changed.
Well, no, nothing's changed. Well, so right, you've got the Apple Watch, right? And my wife loves hers. She won't wear any other watch. She wears it all the time, and like, feels naked without it. It's a thing. There is functionality for the smartwatch and some of the health benefits, particularly as you're starting to get older. The watch can find stuff out that you may not know. And I've heard of people that have had heart problems diagnosed from wearing their watch and blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, but like, if you're a watch guy, do you double wrist it? Is that weird? I don't know. There is a company called Trivoly, Trivoly, and they make a real thin module for the smartwatch. It's a smartwatch disc. Comes with a free and easy to use USB charger. It has a relatively limited functionality, but it will let you know if you've got notifications. It monitors the same sort of pulse rate. I don't think it's got an oximeter, but it'll slip on the back of your existing watch. Just put it on there, and so now.
So how do you get notifications then?
It's synced up to your phone.
But okay, so where does it, on the case back? It goes on?
Goes on the case back, and so you don't get notifications on that. It'll give you information to your phone, and so it's not going to be the same sort of thing where necessarily you're getting email notifications or text notifications or things like that. But it does have some similar functionality.
So does it just vibrate? Is it just a vibrating module to tell you that, hey, look at your phone?
No, I don't think it does that. I think that you've got, like, the email notifications. It may do that, but you're going to be getting it on your phone anyway. So I think that's sort of a silly bit.
So I'm failing to see the point of this. If you have a module,
it's looking for the health benefits that people are getting from a smartwatch. So I'm wearing a smartwatch because I want some of the notifications that I can get from the smartwatch, which is health benefits, how far have I walked, all that kind of stuff.
So it's more of a sensor.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So it gives.
I get you now.
It'll fit under here. So now all of a sudden I've got a smartwatch.
I'm getting you now.
Yeah, it's an interesting little thing.
That is different. Have you seen the smart clasps?
I like that. I do like that idea. I like that idea a little bit more.
That's a cool idea. However, so maybe not the one you have on now, but look at some of the watches that you wear on a fairly regular basis and look at all the scratches on your clasp.
Oh yeah.
Cool idea. But how well do you think that's going to hold up to?
It's an interesting concept. And then the other part too, though, looking at some of the smart clasps, they're big. It's like 1.5 inches. Some of them might even be 2. So, looking at how that's going to wear on we're talking, it's wider and longer than this.
Yeah.
You also got to make sure that it's on tight enough that you like. So the sensors for most of the smartwatches are always underneath the dial because the dial sits flatter. Whereas, when it slips
It
around,
hangs a little lower. Yeah.
right.
But I
And so it
wonder,
depends on how comfortable you are with that.
I wonder if those even have sensors or if it's more just a notification, visual notification purposes kind of
I think
thing.
it depends on the brand, because there's a bunch of different brands that are doing something similar. And I get where they're coming from in the space, because if you've curated a large watch collection,
hmm
you've got to figure
Well,
out.
yeah, it's a good idea if it can be refined a little more. I think it takes away the need for a smartwatch as a whole and gives you the smartwatch capabilities, but being able to wear it on just about anything.
Yeah, but then you start looking at, it's like, okay, cool. How do I change it out? If you've got a real deep collection, if you've got 20 watches or more, and you want to wear this thing every day, that means that it has to be able to slip on and off pretty easy, and you're probably going to have to get a whole bunch of different straps, because the length is going to be different because of how it's got to fit on.
Well,
I don't
there's
know.
there's ways around it. You can put it on if you had one nice strap. Let's say you put on mesh, right? We can agree that mesh is a pretty universal strap. You put on a mesh strap, and then you just change, a quick link, quick
Yeah,
release mesh, and you just
it
back
could,
and forth
except
wherever you
but
want.
now you're dealing with lug to lug, because then you got to be able to adjust it, and so that's my question. Is like, okay, the
Well,
adjustability factor and how flexible it is. And so, like, if it were to come with, honestly, if it had the kind of micro adjusters that you're finding on some of the higher end dive watches now,
mhm,
if it had some of that, and it had that kind of functionality, I could see that being a really great innovation, because it'll
yeah.
fit. You can fit it on any strap, regardless of the lug to lug, and you've got a ton of options there.
So yeah, but those smart clasps I think are pretty cool. If you want the visual display, now I get where you're going with that little wafer underneath your case back. If you want the health benefits of one, but either one is cool because it's integrating into your normal everyday watch
Right.
rather than you know throwing on a smartwatch and forgetting the rest of your collection. So I'm all
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. I'm there with you on that.
Yeah. So moving on, let's get
Mhm.
into really the topic that we're probably most excited about talking about. At least I am. Project watches.
Yes.
I've got quite a few of those going on.
What do you listed?
All right. So let's start with, I've had this one probably longest. This is not, well, it is my personal because it's my watch right now, but this could be your watch. This Jetstar E on original bracelet. However, this one has a really, really janky looking dial. As these ones are susceptible to, I don't know if it's bad enamel that they used or if it's the way that they age or what goes on with these, but they flake horribly,
Yeah.
really bad. And it is not easy to find one of these gray gradient dials in nice shape. I bought this watch thinking that I'll just restore it, casework, make it look nice, find a, because so my Jetstar that's in my collection came with a dial just like this. Um, put it up on Instagram, hey, I'm looking for a dial. And literally within days, somebody sent me a listing and said, here's a dial. I'm like, oh, perfect. It was real cheap too, like $12. So another one came up. I thought, well, I'll buy it. I'll restore it. I'll sell it because these go for some pretty good money. Um, could not find, I bought this late April, I think. And here we are almost end of August, and I cannot find a dial. So came across a listing for this watch head only, no crown. It has an engraving on the back. It just says ESP written in cursive, but it has a good dial to it. No flaking, no cracking, no nothing. Real good shape. Seller wanted $149 for it. says starts and stops. There's no crown. You can't wind it. So it probably does run. But all he's doing is he's shaking it, and it's just getting the balance wheel going enough for the hand, the second hand to tick. $149. No, it ain't worth 149 just for the dial. No, no, no way. So some times go by, and I think you and I had a conversation. I said, I'm just, here's where I'm at. This is what I have invested into that one. If I buy this for X amount of dollars, this is the total investment. Here's what I can sell it for. Do you think it's worth it? You're like, well, it's not horrible. So offered the seller $75 for this watch head that may or may not run, decent handset, but the good dial. So essentially I'm paying $75 for a dial, right? Is what it is. I can't find them. The guy rejects my offer, which is fine. Yeah, I'm offering him half of what he's asking for it. So I figured it was a long shot, but to give it a try anyways. Oh, no, I take it back. He didn't reject. He sent $125. I said, no, that's more than what I'm willing to pay. So some time goes on. Our mutual friend sends me the link to this exact watch. And I said, here's the funny thing about that. I already offered him $75. All I really need from it is the dial. I said, but he wants me to pay $125. It ain't worth it. He says, well, let me try. So he sends him an offer, $75. Right? You get two offers for the same price. And at a certain point, you got to think that's really all I'm going to get for the watch. So he writes him back and says, hey, can you do 100? So he messages me. He says, the seller wrote me back, says $100. Is it worth it to you? I says, no. I said, it's not really. 75 is more than what I want to pay anyways. Within 2 or 3 minutes, the seller messages me, says, hey, would you be willing to do $100? So now, unbeknownst to him, I know what's going on here because I'm talking to the guy who's making him a second offer. So I wrote him back and I said, listen, I appreciate the offer. All I'm after is the dial. It's really more than what I want to pay. 75 is my ceiling. I appreciate it, but it's a no for me. He said, oh, I understand completely. Real nice guy. Not a like the other guy with the Jetstar. He didn't block me. So our friend said the same thing, said, listen, it's hard to tell what kind of shape it's in, there's no crown. I can't tell if it runs, blah, blah. He says, I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to decline at $100. Another day goes by. The seller accepts his $75 offer. So my thought is, if you're going to accept a $75 offer, wouldn't you accept it to the first person to make you that offer? And maybe I'm not even the first person to offer him $75. I could have been the second or third one, right? Who knows?
Right.
But I feel like you should at least go down the line where mine should have been accepted more than the guy who actually bought it.
Well, except so the question is, and it's the way, to me, it's the way that people manage their eBay messages and all the rest of it. Like, I don't save any of them unless I'm in the middle of a sale. Unless I'm working with somebody, then I'll save it until the watch is gone, and then we're kind of.
And I could understand that. However, a week had gone by, and then he messaged me back because he knew I made him that offer. So he had my messages. Right. He knew I was interested in it, and for that price. Point.
Yeah.
So, well, here's the funny part: is I didn't pay for it at $75. My friend paid for it at $75, and then I just reimbursed him, and I ended up with the watch anyways. So I'm not mad about it, but it's just like, it's just the kind of the weird stuff that goes on with eBay.
You get into some interesting spots.
You do it long enough, and you see some, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, this watch head and this watch are going to be combined into one, and it's going to turn into a real nice watch. You like that? That was my magic.
That's good. That's really nice.
So this one, along with the one I'll talk about in a second, are getting sent to you because you are going to have them serviced for me. So I'm going to have 2 serviced Bulova Jetstars, refinished cases. They're going to be nice watches. So if you're interested
to get into this beautiful dress watch space,
get out of here. So that segues me into my next one, and it's funny because all I can show you on camera right now is the case, because the rest of it is in parts. So this is the Jetstar D. This
Mhm.
is the one known for the iconic blue anodized bezel. And what's cool about this is the bezel is actually in really, really nice shape, where a lot of them are all scratched up,
Right.
dinged and all that.
They
And some of
wear awfully.
they really do. This one is really, really nice. Um, so this one came, and here's the before picture. This is, so there's two model years for the Jetstar D. There's the 72 and 73. The first one I have was a 73, has a different handset and crown setup than the 72, which is the project version. The main difference is that hands. It has the red and white handset, which I love, with the red second hand. So because I'm never selling my Jetstar collection, I'm not super concerned with it being year specific. I like combining the best of whatever variants there are and making one really cool one,
Yeah. Okay.
like I did with the F,
Yeah.
with that handset there. I pulled this handset, put it on my NOS 73. So I have this 72 version, which has a different crown, but it's correct. It protrudes rather than the hidden crown of the 73. It'll have the 73 handset, which is the blue handset. So it kind of combining the best of both worlds.
It works.
This one,
It's still technically correct.
and still technically correct, has the original bracelet,
Right.
but the problem is only has one end link. And I think I found a way to fashion a second end link. I am 90% confident I can get it done, because the odds of finding an original end link for this specific Chrysler bracelet
Yeah.
are
No
going to
way.
be next to none.
Well,
Uh,
no, that might be wrong. That might be right. Like, you are more likely to find one than you are to find two, though.
well, yeah,
You won't
you're
find a
right.
set. You'll
You're probably
find
right
one,
about that.
and like
But
you could luck out that way. But you got to
it'll
know
be the
what
only
it is. You
one.
got to be able to find it, right?
Yeah,
And it will be the only one. Oh man.
yeah. So I think I've come up with a way to fashion one. I was looking at. I have an oh, what is this? 20 millimeter? I think it's a 20 millimeter. I have a 20 millimeter curved end link that is very near the same kind of profile that it should be, and I should be able to make it work. So again, will be serviced, correct bracelet. It'll have the bull of a clasp, bull of a crowns. It'll be ready to go. It's going to be a nice piece. So
See, you're becoming the Jetstar whisperer, man.
I'm becoming and that's not all. But
And
wait,
that's
there's
not
more.
all. But wait, there's more.
So I have an F. I don't have it with me. Here's the picture though. Here's the before and after pictures of it. This is because I'm not holding up to you, I'll explain it. The gold cased with the another kind of a gradient dial that I tried to kind of refinish the case on a gold plated case, and it came out fairly well. Brand new crystal. This one will not get serviced. It does have a movement that runs, it winds, it does everything that it should. It'll go for cheap. It'll make a nice watch for somebody. Um, but something fun for you and I, we had gotten an offer on two watches. Somebody messaged me and says, "Hey, are you interested in these?" And he had a Bull of a Jetstar C,
Mm-hmm.
which is the rectangular blue dial,
Yeah.
on original bracelet with original clasp and crown, completely there. Watch. It's a different handset though. It's not a correct handset, but it still
Right.
looks nice. And he had a picture of what, Joe?
Braille. The first generation Braille watch. So it's got the Braille watches. I've got one. I've got the dealer sample, and this is the second iteration. So the numbers are a little bit closer into the center, which is interesting for a Braille watch because you can't see the numbers anyway.
To have numbers, yeah.
Right. And so the first generation is it's a little bit wider. It's a different dial layout, but it's
no
still,
numbers.
Right. It's a nice watch. It's a nice setup.
So it's all original. It's on original bracelet. It does work. He sent us a video of everything, setting the hands The time sets, the years in the little crystal pops open.
Yeah, the dial is warm, but it was a used watch, so that's kind of
Yeah,
nice. Whereas the one I've got is, dealer sample, doesn't have a movement.
yeah.
So
But it's like you said, it was warm, but it means it was used. It was used. It was for what it was intended for. Somebody was running their fingers across it, and it shows, and that's cool.
so
And for it
the
to be on the
kicker,
original bracelet too.
right? The kicker for these, and the problem you have with these is it's a high torque movement, and it's not real common. It's what the 10 BLLA if it's the automatic, or then there's another 18.10.10
It's
or
18.10 something or other.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two specific movements for it, but they're also common in Sea Kings. So you can find them in whales, but because it doesn't have a second hand, and no date,
Yeah.
but it's this high torque because you're touching the handset in order to tell the time.
Yeah. You got to keep that from moving. So it's cool engineered idea, the way that it works and how that crystal. So do it on camera. Pop open your crystal. There's a little, so you have the crown, and in the center of the crown, it's almost like a mono pusher.
Yeah, it has that same kind of listen. But listen.
Yeah. You can hear it. But the one you have coming, you remember the video? Did you watch? Did you hear the
Yeah,
video? He
yeah,
did it. It's like just like a nice, satisfying
yeah.
little
It's
pop to
it's a good
it. Yeah.
it's a good sound.
Yeah.
The interesting part for that one though, like it's got sort of vintage scissor bracelet on it. This one
Mm-hmm.
has it's cut, but it is a Bulova signed expansion bracelet, which is I've never seen one, and I don't know that I don't think I'm going to be able to make it fit. I have to see if I can find other links for it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, you have to do. Yeah. Well, and that one was cut because when
Yeah,
the salesman samples were
right.
used, they were stapled to a
In the
board.
tray. Yeah,
Yeah. So you didn't need the full bracelet,
right,
just enough
right.
to be able to see what it looked like. So yeah, so that's cool. So your idea is
Swap the movement.
you seem to think that the movements will swap. I'm a little hesitant on that. I don't think they're going to, because your second generation used a different movement. So my worry is the posts. I think the posts are going to be a little different on them. They may not match up, so your
Hard to
hands are
say.
probably not going to fit.
Hard to say. Don't know. Don't know. We won't know until we get in there.
So we're going to find out. You're going to send me that one,
Yep.
and I'll see if I can work my magic on it. And then that Jetstar C will be another one that I make it look decent. It runs, it does everything that it should. All the date mechanisms work and everything on it. So I probably won't have it serviced, and kind of keep the cost down a little bit. So we'll see. I don't know. So that's 4 Jetstars that I'm going to be selling. Nothing that you're going to be selling, but you got some cool project stuff there.
Yeah,
So
both of these Accutrons need to get some work done. The snorkel, the crown comes completely out. It's like, okay, that's
really?
problematic. Yeah.
So you can't even set the time on that then?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a beautiful little.
So my guess is it's just the
Straight out.
the keyless is probably messed up inside there then.
It's hard to
Or
say.
it's just not screwed down. It's just not
Right.
Weird.
Right. So I got to get that serviced, and I've got a local guy that I'm going to take both of these to when you send your watches out, and they'll both go up to another guy that I've got who does some Accutron work, and we'll see if he can get these suckers going. Because if it's just a cleaning and reattaching the crown stem, then okay, we're in good shape. If it's going to be more than that, then they're probably going to Thailand. And if they're going to Thailand, then that's a much different situation, because to make that worth kind of my time, it's going to be probably 4 watches that I send, because I've got 2 others that one is a really odd 219 that I got just for nothing, but the dial it's weird. It's got this weird applique on it. I'll drop a picture in, and it's It's an interesting watch. It's a really interesting watch, and I've never seen anything quite like it. I believe there's even like a jewel on the pinions, the center pinion for the handset too. I mean,
Really?
it's kind of funky. It's kind of funky, but
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
all yeah. Check out the picture because it's interesting. It's a really interesting watch, and that would get serviced. I need something done on my Deep Sea A. The drill bezel crown has come out, and so that's why I'm not. You haven't seen pictures of that one recently. I haven't been wearing it a whole lot, just because I don't want to lose that crown.
So did the crown just unscrew from the stem?
No, it came completely out, but it's a different type of works because it's working the internal bezel, and so it's got a whole different gearing in it and some other stuff.
That's why I say I hope the gearing is still intact inside there.
Seems to be, but I gotta go. It's gotta go in. So. So
you need to find a new bezel for that one.
I do need to find a new bezel for that one. They're thin on the ground. I used to find them a lot.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one. I haven't seen just a bezel in a real long time. I've seen cases.
But those kinds of parts are becoming very few and far between.
For Accutron specifically.
Well, for a lot of stuff, I'm still looking for a deep sea bezel. I cannot find one to save my soul.
Well, the thing that's so funny too is you're talking about stuff from the 60s. And 60s, 70s, like the bezel that I have on my Deep Sea Chrono, like the same watch that we've got, that popped up as new old stock, and I think I got it off of Instagram. I got to move right now, and I think
you had to.
He threw it up, and it had been up for maybe 3 minutes. Like, yes, now you and I we're discussing this, and it totally makes or breaks a watch. It's a totally, and you know what I'm talking about with that. So it's
yeah. See, in your dial, like mine, looked gray,
right?
And when you threw that very nice blue bezel on there, it really brought the blue out. So I'm wondering if it'll do the same for mine too. Mine looks very gray.
I don't see why it wouldn't. It's that weird blue gray color, and it just depends on what you've got next to it. That makes it pop that way. So
that, and in fairness, that one's kind of a project too, because I needed to replace the crystal on that. I have a correct chronograph handset, so the two sub hands and the center seconds
will be right.
I traded. So was funny enough, the bezel that yours came with originally, you had sent me to look at to see if it was any better than mine, and it was only slightly, but not enough for me to put on there.
Make it worth it, right?
And then we have another mutual Bulva collector in the UK, and we were talking about it. He says, well, I'll trade you. He says, I have the correct handset you need for your chronographs. He said, just send the bezel, I'll send you the hands. So that's what we did. We swapped. Right. And so now I got to put those hands and stuff on there. So it needs a little work itself. And then the case definitely has to be redone because it's lived a life as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the way those suck. I mean, I talk about tool watch,
Yeah,
it's kind of always that way. So
yeah, but it's almost like until I can find a bezel to put on there, I don't think anything going to get done to it until I have the full package, and then I can do it all at once.
I would agree with that. And it's hard to wear it when
It's hard to wear it because how many pictures of different straps have I sent you? Like, does this one work? Does that work? Does this work? Because that faded bezel just doesn't match with a whole lot.
It doesn't. And like, maybe if you had the bracelet, it would change the opinion of it. But that bracelet is so hard to find, man. It's so hard to find.
Well, it's the end links. They're not. It's a curved end link, but it's not a typical curve. It's a very shallow curve on this watch.
It's a totally different thing, and it just does not work with straight end links. It's got to be the curve. Like you can throw it on some kind of strap, but I have my own issues. So
maybe I'll put it on Shark. That's funny though. That is funny that when you got that Deep Sea there, I looked it up in a line book, and sure enough, I had to send that to you right away.
I know. You were very quick on that.
All right. Any other projects, or is that it?
That's all I've got.
I'm trying to keep it short-ish, not to bore everybody. All right. Last call. What do you got?
I got nothing.
Nothing.
I got a hangover. That's all I got.
Okay. So,
I do have a last call.
oh,
I do.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
I tried on the parking meter.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you
I tried on the
did.
parking meter. There's somebody who had one in for a review at one of the last OC Chrono meetups that I went to,
Mhm.
and I get it. I get it.
Okay.
I
So
understand it. I
you
understand the
get
watch.
it. You understand it. Do
Mhm.
you like it?
It is okay. It is
Okay.
okay. I would be very interested in seeing a vintage one now. I don't know that I would own one. I don't think that it ticks that box for me. It's not something that's going to be on my list.
I don't see you wearing it. Yeah. No,
Right. It doesn't. I don't think it fits in with my
it doesn't
collection.
have a spot in
As
your
impressive
collection.
as it is, even the vintage. But so the issues that I had with the watch were the way that it was going to wear and how high it was going to be, at least based off of the pictures. Right.
Mhm.
Put it on, seeing how the lugs fit, how it curves, like it wears really well. It's big, but it's not overtly so.
Mhm.
I see exactly what you did with the strap and why, but the
Mhm.
strap is not bad.
It's a nice strap. Yeah.
It is, but I think like you can go with something a little bit different that'll change just. But I get it. I get it, and I understand. I understand the design choices that were made. I understand why they were made. Aesthetically, it works. It's a pretty pleasing watch. And to be honest, most of the people that were at the meetup, everybody got their hands on it. Like, this is
Mhm.
really cool. And so we had lots of conversations about that. And so
Did you play with the 6 o'clock
I didn't mess
crown?
around. I didn't mess around with a lot of the crowns because I was
No.
just kind of taken in, and I was trying to find the right lighting for it. So I think I understand. I understand the watch. I understand why the choices were made, and it is a nice watch.
So another question, and I almost don't want to ask you this question. So I pre-ordered mine, paid full retail for it. I paid $5.95 plus taxes. It came out to whatever the amount is. Do the math. You know what number I have.
I do.
Being one of the first people to own it. So aside from people who had sample pieces,
Correct.
we can agree that I was literally the first person for at least a week to be posting about this on
Oh,
Instagram.
sure. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
I mean, if we can be vague about it, you're in low 2 digits
Yes.
on that out of 5,000.
Out of
Right.
5,000.
The sample piece I saw was in the 19s.
So did it say, was it stamped sample on the back?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was a production piece.
Okay. Yeah. Because I've seen the sample ones were stamped sample on the back,
Right.
on the case back. Do you think the price I paid for it, given the number I've got and being one of the first people to have it, was a fair price?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm
I think
surprised.
so.
I thought you were going to say no.
No. I think that for what that is, and for I don't know that you see, this is part of the question when it comes to the LE watches and when it comes to Bulova's pricing, because like the watch comes out and it's full retail, and then you can see them listing for above retail for a little while, and then they drop. And they drop.
This one you can already find it on Zales for in the 400s, the high 400s. I forget what the actual price is. 475 maybe
with various discounts and whatever else that goes on in there.
Yeah,
and,
so you can already buy it cheaper, but I'm not disappointed.
No, but the point being that, like, if you're that early adopter for some of these limited editions, like, you're kind of paying for bragging rights a little bit. It's not exactly that, but it's kind of close.
So how do you feel about the 24-hour subdial? What are your thoughts on that?
Doesn't bother me at all.
It in pictures it bothers me. In person it doesn't, because there's so much going on that takes your eye away from it.
Yeah, you don't even notice. You don't even notice at all. Right. Yeah,
so,
I think it's a great package. I really like
so
it.
A lot of the gripes that people have, and a lot of the gripes that you had, you would agree that when you see it in person, you get a different perspective on it.
Oh, totally. It is,
so go
it is
see
a completely different watch in person. And I have a picture of me wearing it, but I also have a picture of somebody else wearing it. So we got perspectives, and it works on a variety of sizes. It works on different wrist shapes. It just works. It works. It's a good package. And so I had to tag Michael in it and saying, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it really does. It makes sense. And it goes back, I've referred to it before, but in his episode, when he says you got to put it on, you got to try it on, you got to have it on your wrist, because the 2D pictures, you cannot, and it's for any watch, not just this watch. It's for any watch, really.
Yeah. Put it on. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because you have to. You really do.
You do. I agree. Sure. I agree.
And if Joe can change his mind about the parking meter, because he had very specific thoughts about it.
Did. I had very specific concerns. And as soon as I put it on, those concerns faded away. And I'm like, and it was really the sort of thing, I knew who had it as a sample. I knew who else was there. And somebody else was looking at it and saw me walk in and walk right over kind of to this. I'm like, oh, all right. Take my watch off, put this one on, and I'm sitting there, I'm staring at it, and like, oh yeah, okay. And it was immediate. It was an instant thing. And I think I probably took a picture of it and sent it to you immediately. It's like,
yeah,
got it. I get it. I was wrong. I get it. All my
I'm glad
they literally faded away.
I'm glad you got to have that experience.
I am too.
I am. Yeah.
I wanted to see one. I really did.
So, living geographically where I do, I get to partake in launches, space launches.
Now, hang on. Living geographically where I do, I also get to partake in space launches.
You do. You are correct. Not nearly as much as I do. It's pretty much well, you have rocket launches there.
Yeah, so there's Edwards, and then Tesla or no, SpaceX is just up
SpaceX. Yeah,
and they go off the coast. So
not very often. Like, when was the last time you heard of one going up?
Oh, it was like a couple years ago.
Yeah, see, one went up last night.
Well, because well, no, and the difference is, right, SpaceX has moved to Texas, and so they're doing most of their launches there. But then they got all the NASA stuff, which is where you are, and so it's a slightly different. You have a much more higher frequency than I do.
Tomorrow is the scheduled launch for the Artemis 1.
Very cool.
This is a NASA rocket, so it's not SpaceX.
Right.
The Artemis 1 is the test rocket for the new lunar program.
Right.
They're going to be sending people back to the moon. Their target is 2025. I think that's what it is, 2025.
Yes.
And this is the first test rocket. This is supposed to be the most powerful rocket that's ever launched from Cape Canaveral. It is set to go up tomorrow morning. I am very much considering maybe not going to the coast, because I don't think I'll get anywhere near it.
Probably
but
not.
At least maybe getting halfway between, and then I can, go out my door here and I can see it, and very well too.
No kidding.
But I'd like to get a little closer. Yeah, I'd like to get a little closer, get some better pictures. I would wear my lunar pilot for the occasion for sure.
Of course, and like you do.
For those that are into this sort of thing, you might notice the correlation between the Apollo provenance to the lunar pilot and the new Artemis rocket, because Artemis is the twin to Apollo, and because this is the second manned mission, that just seems to be the appropriate name for that rocket.
And it comes next alphabetically.
And well, there you go. But yeah, so I think it's pretty cool that they're doing a lunar program again.
All right.
Yeah. That's about it. That's all I got. So today, Joe, you and I, we make up the Spring Bar Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us thespringbarpodcast@gmail.com. On a personal level, I am 120 clicks, all spelled out, one long word, 120 clicks. Joe?
I am Watch Taylor Youth, TAYLORUPH at Instagram. And you can also hashtag us with the Spring Bar Podcast. We would love to see anything that you want to share. Maybe not silly dog videos, unless it's your silly dog.
If you tag it, the Spring Bar Podcast, we'll appreciate it.
We probably will.
Yeah.
we probably will. And you can send us an email, send us your drink and watch shots. If you've got a meetup that you want us to help promote, please let us know, because we are very pro meetup. And I was just at one, and it was phenomenal. It was an excellent time. Good time was had by all. So I highly recommend if you can get out to one.
Yep, for sure. Oh, and don't forget, poll, just our collection.
Just
dress watches or sport watches. or other. We'll put an other in,
Other.
and then you can add in what you think they would be classified as.
Throw it in the comments.
Yeah, throw it in the comments below. And then don't forget, Casey was supposed to be with us this week. He will most likely be with us next episode. So if you miss him, in the comments, send him a note. Tell him that you miss him, that you're looking forward to him coming back, and we'll make sure he gets to see those. So
Yes, please.
until then, cheers.
Cheers. See you guys.